Well, hello, good morning. This is Nikki Schumacher. For those of you who don't know me, I am going to do a get ready with me. I've been doing this on Thursday mornings. I have not been on time. By the way, the subject today is mental health. I just want to check on you, whoever you are, if you've been a viewer for a long time, if this is your first time randomly checking YouTube and seeing my video and clicking on it. I just want to check on your mental health right now. I don't know what it's like where you are, if people are allowed to go out again, if things have started opening up, or if it's still pretty tight. And so that's the subject today. But yeah, I've been doing these live streams on Thursday. I'll get into the subject matter a little farther into the video as people join or don't join. Sometimes I have a lot of people show up and sometimes not. So it all depends, you know. So, and I will also like poll and see if there's a better time that works for everyone, because I know that there have been other random times that it seemed like a lot more people showed up. So I don't know. I do want to thank you guys for your patience. Hey, if you're watching the playback, go ahead and fast forward 5 or 10 minutes to get into the content of the video so we can check in on your mental health and how you're doing today. But yeah, just catch up stuff before we get into that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nikki Schumacher. I am practically imperfect in every single way. This community seeks to help each other love our families practically and imperfectly. So yes, I sprained my ankle and I just don't move very fast. Like, gosh, I got up at the butt crack of dawn this morning, fed my baby, got dressed, and then now I'm here. So it's just hard to know like how fast I'll be able to move with the pain stuff that I'm going through. Those of you who know me know I've been dealing with chronic aches and pains and postpartum hair loss. Like, it's a ton. My husband has a garbage can right here next to the bed. So yeah, I just have been doing my best to make these videos for you guys, but sorry not sorry. I'm a wife and mom first, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to find consistent times to upload for you guys, but I think I have still been doing at least weekly. So how is everybody doing? Leave a comment below. Are you doing really great mentally, terrible mentally? Is life opening up where you are? Is it still pretty much locked down? I know that different regions have been hit with this thing that shall not be named. I like to call it Voldemort. I know different regions have been hit differently. So how is it where you are? And the reason I want to check in with you guys on your mental health is because I know that isolation is a really big factor. It directly correlates. It always has. And you know, I've read a lot about this just because my own family history and wanting to be educated in how to help them and potentially myself. And having struggled through the postpartum depression, really, I've just read a ton about it. And so all the isolation that different people are going through just has me concerned for your mental health, and just wanted to check in, see how you're doing, and honestly give you some tips if you are struggling. Do go ahead and share this video out, because you don't know who it could help. And I don't really say that very often. There's very few videos where I'm that strong about. Go ahead and share the video. My progesterone video, because that saved my baby from miscarriage. And obviously I would want that life-saving information to be out there. But this video is one of those. As you guys know, I don't even like the word, but the rates of attempts to take our own life have skyrocketed. I've talked to a couple of my friends who are police officers for different cities, they're saying that very much this is true. Anybody who works for suicide hotline saying like the phone calls are up 600%. So it is a big thing right now. And I'm just gonna like chat with you because we're friends while I get ready. I just took a shower, my hair is wet. I have moisturizer on, and yeah, we'll get started. So let's see, what am I gonna do? What's the look for today? The husband, while he does work from home, I love that, by the way. I love that he works from home right now. Today is his day off. That's why I do Thursdays, because he's out weeding in the garden with the girls. Our baby's sleeping. He might end up bringing her to me. A lot of times I nurse off camp, like kind of just like below the camera with the baby. But yeah. So today we wanted to go to the Social Security office, but we checked and it's closed, so we're not gonna do that. But we might run some other errands. We have a friend who has an old lawnmower that they're gonna give us because the one they want is on sale. And by the way, I've been trying a new makeup thing that I found on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok if you're there. It's like you put moisturizer and then powder and then face setting spray and then your foundation, your primer and foundation. It's kind of weird, but I've been enjoying it. So, and I mean, like a lot of these products, technically I sell them, but I'm not really, I don't know. I really am just in it at this point for the products, and I haven't been trying to sell them, but so many of you guys have asked. So if there's something that you're interested in, you can private message me on Instagram and I could send you the link for it. But Artistry, which is what I use a lot, doesn't, I don't know their rules about posting links on YouTube. They're kind of funny about that. But then all the products that I don't use, like, oh, this is Pharmacy. I bought this from a friend, and she's my Instagram friend too, so you could find her. But so what have you guys got going on today? What's your plan? Are you just stuck at home? We might go grocery shopping because it's been about a week. I try to make Fridays our grocery day, but it seems like we're out of everything by Thursday lately, and so we've just gotten on this Thursday kick. And I used to like always get grocery delivery because of my aches and pains. I always got grocery delivery, but now grocery delivery is just so backed up, and the few times that we've done it, the order was completely wrong. Like, and one time it didn't even come the day they said it was, and so I was like waiting around for no reason, and I ain't got time for that. I homeschool. And I was already a homeschooler before all this happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and now get into the content of the video. We are at 8:36. I will try to, if anybody wants to leave a comment for those watching the playback as to when the actual content of the video is starting, that's much appreciated. Otherwise, I will try very hard to remember to do that afterward. Mental health, you guys. I worry about you guys. I don't like that word. That's a bad word. I'm concerned. I pray hard for people right now. I do know that this is a real virus. Make no mistake that there are immunocompromised people that need to be careful, and depending on your region, you might not need to even be more careful. It's hard to really know what's going on. But I also know that through my own experience and through research, and even there was a really well-researched sermon that I listened to a few years ago that just stuck in my mind from my pastor, Bruce Young, back when I attended First Baptist Church in Boise, about isolation being a number one. it's like number 1 or number 2, along with sleep quality being a factor in your mental health. And, you know, I never really understood mental health challenges. I didn't struggle with any at all until my first postpartum experience when I was like 33 years old. So I went through 33 years of my life really ignorant of mental health. Except I do have family that I love very much who have their own struggles with it. But I didn't like completely understand. It's not that I looked down on them or anything. I just couldn't understand what they were going through. Based on the grace that God had for me at that time in my life. And now I know a lot more. Like, I've read tons of science journals. I'm not here, the point of this video is not to prove to you that mental health challenges exist or prove to you the tips that they work or whatever. I mean, you can look that up if you want. The point of this is to check in on you guys and give you some tips that I've researched that have worked for me, because I just care about you. I just care about you. And you know, there's just one clown in every area of life that's like, provide me your resources. Do a 13-hour homework project for me. And it's like, look, I don't even know you. I'm not doing homework for you. But out of the love in my heart, I'm just going to share some tips. And you can take them or leave them. But most of you guys that watch my channel, say hello if you're in the chat, are very positive and kind. And I appreciate you very much. This is a fixing spray. Hello, Jessica. It's so good to see you. Now, I have a lot of Jessicas in my life. Is this Jessica from the UK or Jessica from somewhere else? Let me know. So this is pharmacy setting spray, and I think it's like a direct sales company. I bought it from my friend. She is handicapped and works from home. She can't work like a regular job, so she tries to sell this to help her family out, and I appreciate that. So I bought it from her, and it works from Sweet, Idaho. Oh, yes, yes, yes. How far is Sweet from Boise? Because like that would be cool to have a meetup sometime. Anyway, so my friend Cynthia sells this. She's a friend of mine on Instagram if you are needing that. Oh, yeah. A lot of you guys ask for links, and I am terrible about putting them because I'm not a beauty guru, but you can always just DM me on Instagram and I'll help you out. And every once in a while I put links below. So I have my Artistry Shimmer Loose Powder, and then my setting spray. And now I'm going to put primer on. And a lot of times primer, I would say most of the time, that's this. This stuff is amazing. People always think that I'm not wearing foundation. And I guess technically this isn't a foundation, but to me, I don't like the heavy stuff. I'm a 90s kid. We didn't like the full face. We were more minimalist about our makeup, and that's still kind of how I am. 30 minutes. That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be fun. If I could do like a meetup with like anybody really who's local to Boise that watches, and I think that would be fun, like to just meet up at like a coffee shop or something. I mean, it would be a pretty small event because like my channel, I don't know, I think maybe it's 2,500 subs now. I have to look. And like some of them are from Idaho. I'd say 50% of them are from Idaho because that's where I live. And then the other 50% are like around the whole world. So the percentage of people that could show up to a meetup would be very small, but it would be fun. Yeah, I don't exactly know how to plan all that, but I should do it. So yes, this is Beauty Balm Perfecting Primer. And oh man, I forgot to put SPF on. But anyway, I like this stuff. I'm gonna kind of put a lot because I forgot to put SPF on. So I just watched a video from a YouTuber that said you have to have like a 1/4 teaspoon of product for the SPF to work. So that's why she suggests, and she's amazing. I can't remember her name. I might link it below. That's like a ton of product. Like, so that's why she suggests doing your SPF and your foundation separate. But anyway, a lot of times I just use this primer as my only foundation. It kind of smooths everything out, and it doesn't draw attention to like my dry spots, my wrinkly spots. Because a lot of times when us women in our later 30s put on foundation too much, it kind of like, it's like a wrinkle highlighter. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do today, because this just feels really good. I'm gonna put it on my lips as well. I don't know, for the SPF effect. So yes, there we go. I am gonna be bold and just say, if you are struggling with mental health right now, I really beg that you not stay alone. And I'm sorry to say that I have seen the world's awareness of mental health just like, people just forgot, like they have amnesia. It has just taken such a backward turn. And understandably, you know, if someone is trying to limit their exposure to what they feel is something very dangerous to them, and for some people it is very dangerous, I can understand that. And the comment section, you guys, I have another video, I have another channel called Exegesis, where I put more like theology, political thoughts. And the comment section of people blaming, like this one, I've seen this in a lot of comment sections, where they're blaming the person with mental health challenges, saying that they should isolate themselves anyway and just tough it out so that no one gets the virus from them. It's a challenge. It's really a challenge. And the hypocrisy, honestly, I'm not trying to get too political, but I'm just telling you, if you are alone with your mental health challenges, you can't do that. You cannot do that. If you feel yourself going down that dark tunnel, I'm going to beg, and this video might get taken down for me saying this, I'm going to beg that you find a way to socialize with people and get around people, because for your safety, that is important. You know, the church has championed lately, you know, the last 20 years or so in the church, I've seen people get more and more aware that in this fallen world, just like someone could have a heart palpitation or a broken leg, your brain can have problems also from chemical imbalances. And sure, some of that's a choice, but also we can't tell that from the outside of what's a choice and what is just this fallen world that we're living in these fleshly bodies. I mean, the highest comorbidity for people to get the Voldemort, or whatever you want to call it, is obesity. And a lot of times that's a choice, not always. And that's why I never judge. I don't know if this person, I never judge a person for being overweight, because maybe it's their choice. Maybe they just overeat and they don't exercise and it's totally a choice. Maybe they have had 11 miscarriages in a row. Like one lady I knew, and she was just like not even that overweight, but she was. And we don't know. We don't know if they have PCOS. We just don't know. And so we wouldn't say, well, you don't deserve whatever it takes to get healthy because it's your choice. We wouldn't say that to them because we don't know. And so with mental health challenges, knowing what I know, knowing that isolation is a huge factor, lack of sleep is a huge factor, childhood trauma is a huge factor. If your parents were divorced, if you were beaten or abused or sexually abused. All of those things are factors. It's kind of like a point system with any illness. Some of it's choices we made and some of it is not choices we made. We don't know. The point is, if you're suffering mentally right now, you're going to have a lot of voices telling you you're selfish for trying to get help. And for you, one of the best things you can do to get help, if you can't afford a therapist right now, is to actually get around other people. And yeah, I know that that's like a really controversial thing to say, but your health matters just as much as the next person. And that's why me personally, I started, I don't like the term social distancing, but I started like separating myself from society a couple weeks before it hit my state, before they found the first case, because one of my kids had the sniffles, and I didn't want to share that with somebody, with knowing what's going around. And I started doing it like before anyone I know knows. Yeah. So that being said, if someone needs my help, I'm not going to distance myself from them. Sorry, not sorry. Now, will I go around elderly people right now knowing that I could be an asymptomatic carrier? Probably not. But if someone is needing a hug because they are at the end of their rope, I'm not going to distance myself from them. So, and I think that this whole situation cured me of my hatred for hugging. Like, I am that introverted person. Okay, so I have foundation and lip gloss on, but I'm just like getting so like interested in the topic at hand that I'm forgetting to put makeup on. That's why these videos sometimes are super long. I don't know how to talk and put makeup on at the same time. What is this? Eyebrows. Okay, so I'm one of those people that at church, when they say, go hug your neighbor, I just want to fall in a hole and die. Like, I hate it. I'm just not really, I wasn't really like, I love hugging my husband and my kids because they are people that I trust. But due to some childhood trauma, hugging strangers was really just not my thing. And if you want to know why, you can check out the Draw My Life video if you want to know more of my story. But yeah, I struggled with some flashbacks. And so having a person I don't know all of a sudden in my space was just not really my thing. Now, if I initiated it, that would be different. If it was a little child, that would be different. But something in my heart, not to judge anyone who struggles with hugging others, that should be your choice. Nobody should. You don't need to touch other people without your consent. That's just something I believe in very, very strongly. But something in me changed during this Voldemort season. I don't know what to call it. Where I just know so much about mental health that my concern for others who might need to be around people, I'm like such an introvert, but my concern for others has just engulfed my own like trauma, I guess, if that makes sense. And not to judge other, like, I don't want to seem like I'm virtue signaling, because there have been many times where I'm like, please don't touch me, please don't touch me, because I just, yeah, if you're not in that place, I'm not saying that you should do that, but I'm just saying that if someone in my life needs a hug right now, I'm cool with that. It's a joy to do so. And or just needs to socialize. I had a girlfriend come socialize, and she has a job where she feels like separation, physical separation is important. So we sat, our chairs 6 feet apart in my yard, and we visited. I have had a nurse stay the night at my house because she needed to take an exam to get her nursing license, and she passed, yay. But other than that, I really have been physically separated from people for years, to tell you the truth. For years and years. I mean, through my 3 pregnancies, they've all had tons of bed rest and so much postpartum recovery that I've spent tons of time alone. And I do, even though I'm an introvert, we're all humans, and I do know that that was a factor in my postpartum depression. I know it anecdotally, and I know it through research. So that's number 1. Your sleep quality is really important. Getting outside in the sunshine. This all sounds woo-woo, but there's science behind it. Sunshine, vitamin D, is just very, very important. Highlighting tint. I'm getting older and dull, so anything that like looks moisturizing is nice for me. At my age. So getting around other people, number 1. Number 2, sleep. Those 2 things are probably the most effective. And then during the day, getting into the sunshine as early in the day as you possibly can, even if that's just sitting in your window, getting a walk around the block, exercise in sunshine, you know. And that's hard because a lot of people are living in places where you can't even do that. Like if you're in the inner city somewhere where it's serious lockdown, you can get depressed, where you can't even leave. So just do your best. I don't know your situation. I don't know the city you're living in. But I do know, and not very many men watch my channel, a few, and usually, it's interesting, usually the men that watch my channel are like Bible nerds, and they just, I don't know, it's weird because I don't really talk about the Bible that much here. That's on my other channel, Exegesis. But check in on the men in your life, because there's a study, I think I read this in a Brene Brown book, but I've heard it other places as well. Now, she's a researcher and a big one. I think her background is she's a psychologist. I don't know. But the number 1 shame for women is body image. The number 1 reason for shame. And the number 1 reason for shame for men is not being able to provide for their families. And people can judge that all they want and say that they're materialistic or whatever, but they're created with an innate desire to provide. They are created that way. They can't help it. Can't help it. Now, you can take your innate desires and turn them idolatrous and sinful, but the fact of the matter is, they are just like women. No, you know, body, like wanting to have this perfect youthful body all your life, that can be very sinful. But where that comes from is we were created to be beautifiers in this world. We love beauty. We like to come into a house and make it a home. You give us some ingredients and we make it a beautiful meal. We are beautifiers. We love to beautify everything around us. And that comes in different forms for different women. For some, it's like you like to make music and you have a lovely singing voice. For some of you, you just are a master in the kitchen and you just create these beautiful things. For men, their innate desire is to build and provide. And right now, so many of them have had that crushed. And the amount of suicide that goes along with that it's I don't even know the word for it. It's just sad. I don't know. I'm just, ugh. So check in on the men in your life and how they're doing. Yeah, that's really important. And, you know, some women have that in them as well, where if they can't work, because we're all unique. If they can't work and they can't produce, I'm kind of like this. I have that kind of personality that you know, there's gender and then there's just your personality. My personality is one that's very much, I'm the Martha. I struggle to be the Mary, where I like to get up and serve and work. And whereas the Mary, you know, she sits and she listens and she's relationship oriented. I struggle with being a Martha. And so, you know, with my chronic pains and even the quarantine and not being able to work, that's part of why I'm so prolific on YouTube, is even though I'm not that great at it. I've missed you too, Bethany. Yeah, I haven't figured out a good time for these live streams that works for everybody. I don't know, just do my best. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm on YouTube. Even though I'm not that talented at filmmaking, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. I ramble, but it's just a way that my personality I just like to produce and work. And so for many people, that is a big factor in depression. And so I would say if you're like that, or if you know some men in your life that are like that, I would consider building something, just trying to build something as an outlet for your mental health. I need to drink some water because I hear my voice getting very much like my grandma. Well, this has gone on quite long and I hear my baby talking. So I'm going to have to feed her in a second. But I should have shared this at the beginning. I recently learned one ninja trick. I actually learned this from Natalie Hodson. She's an old friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. From Miss Idaho. That's like a whole another story, different part of my life. We were in the Miss Idaho competition together. I had no business being there, but I digress. So it has become a business coach. And long story short, I had enlisted some of her coaching because, as you guys may or may not know, I have written a couple of books and I've finished editing one of them, and I'm like trying to figure out the next step on like how to either turn it into an ebook for you guys or find a literary agent, like what to do in that. So she has a similar traumatic background to me, and I don't know why I'm giving you all the background, but anyway, we know that gratitude works. That's a very biblical concept. I mean, a lot of times God commands these things because they like work so well. We know gratitude works, but she helped me take it to the next level, in that it's almost like if you're struggling with trauma or depression right now, look into EMDR therapy. I'm not saying it's for everyone. Look into it. It has been the newest and most effective treatment for anyone with PTSD, whether that be because they have come back from war or because of childhood trauma or any kind of trauma. I mean, police officers, and yeah, anyway, victims of all kinds of things. So what you do, and go ahead and do it right now. Think of a time in your life where you were just so genuinely grateful and it just like radiated through your body. Like, just think of that time. For me, like the thought that comes to my mind, it's gonna be different for you, but I'll just share mine, is just like church camp. My first time at church camp, I just was full of so much joy. I had a pretty rough home life. Like, my dad was pretty good to me. He was very good to me, but I just had a lot of responsibilities because I was the eldest, and my dad was single. So home life at that time, I was basically living kind of like a single mom. Like, my dad was off to work trying to provide, and he was on the road he had to travel for work to make enough money to provide for us. And so I was like home being like a single mom in school full time. And so then I went to church camp, and it was just like, I had like a whole week of like where my biggest responsibility was like when my name got called up for like do the dishes in the KP duty, I think they call it. And the week was just like so fun. And so whatever your memory, your super grateful memory, like, oh my gosh, feel physiologically how you felt. Let those feelings just like radiate through your body. Think of how your cheeks felt. Think of like what the weather was like. How did your body feel? How did your, did you have any, like, was the sun on your skin? Was it a cold day? Was it a hot day? Was your chest pumping with excitement? How did you feel? How did the blood feel running through your veins? Now, this is physiological. This isn't some woo-wah. I'm not into New Age. I do not believe any of that. Biblically, I do believe that our posture affects our psychology. The way your body is affects our brain. You know, that's why we raise our hands to praise the Lord, or we do different things in prayer to affect the whether it's just like a very solemn prayer or a very happy prayer. Like we do that kind of stuff to prepare our hearts to hear the sermon. We do this. So get that feeling in your body, and then you think about whatever your circumstance in your life that's either making you feel ungrateful or making you feel depressed. And you try to take this physiological feeling from this grateful time and you transfer that over to this bad thing that you're going through, whatever that is for you. And you transfer those physiological feelings over here while you're thinking of this, so that you can think of this in a lot healthier space. And I hope I'm making sense. And sometimes you could even like blink your eyes while you're doing it. EMDR, I can't remember what that stands for. Eye movement, something, I don't know, but it works so well for people with PTSD because, if you were in a traumatic situation and all this stuff is happening around you, then you get into a situation that maybe kind of reminds you of that, and it can give you flashbacks. So that's why the EMDR therapy, it's not this woo-wah like New Age thing. It's just kind of trying to help you physiologically to turn on the right hormones at the right time and realize like the bear's not chasing you now, so you can turn off the adrenaline, you can turn off the cortisol that's taking you to this depressed or traumatized or flashback kind of state. So I hope that made sense. Look into that and see if it makes sense for you. For a lot of people, if you are just depressed, talk therapy can work awesome. If you have serious trauma that you're dealing with right now, a lot of times talk therapy makes it worse because it takes you in to those flashbacks again. So I hope that didn't get too deep, but it's just on my heart right now that mental health it's a concern. It's a big concern right now. So please share the video out and tell people to fast forward through the boring parts if they're not into makeup or whatever. Obviously, this is a woman's channel. So I love you guys. I'm going to go. I hear my baby. She's happy, but she's going to need to eat. And this has gone on long enough. So I love you. I hope that you are free and joyful. I hope you know you're good, you're precious. Grace and peace.